Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about rhythm. I want to show you something really cool to make your funky rhythm guitar stuff just groove more, sound more like the records you're checking out, the players that played these iconic parts that you're working on, etc. So let's isolate the problem first. When I teach this style and see people playing this stuff, it seems like everybody's defaulting to a 16th note scratch idea, where that's really present, that 16th note scratch. For example, this is really loud, right, and present. Even in popular music, like so while that sounds really cool and awesome, I just want to make you aware that the 16th note scratch is really loud and it's being phrased into the rhythm you're playing. If you ask me to transcribe your rhythms of, let's say you're playing this song, and you're playing it like that, for me that would just be writing 16 notes. Even though you're accenting the chord, da, 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 right? If you're keeping this sound, what you're projecting is a straight line of 16 notes. So when you start recording guitar in the studio, for example, those 16 notes become really loud. Those scratches, they get in the way of other instruments. And in the mix, for the mixing engineer, it's hard to mix the guitar in that way. You have to cut out a lot of parts. Some guitar parts in that style are written with that intention of actually having the presence of the scratch. You know, Smooth Criminal, the middle part, has that really scratchy, funky part. So sometimes you want that because it's just part of the sound. But the first thing, again, I just wanted to make you aware. Do you want that constant 16th note scratch? You might not. The reason everybody just kind of defaults to that scratchy sound without realizing you're actually making that, you're phrasing that into your rhythm without wanting it, maybe, is because, there's this idea that funk and groove has to be tight. And this gives you a physical sense that you're locked in, that you're playing tightly. And that's true. Moving your hand in straight 16 notes is key, right? You have to develop that skill of always moving your right hand in the subdivision you're playing. For strumming, for playing funky parts. So that's the part we need to keep. We're going to be always moving our hands. But we do not want always the sound of the 16th note scratch. And when you actually listen to like Motown, old funk stuff, a lot of the parts in like Michael Jackson music, the funky Steve Lukather stuff, it's not that tight. It can't be that tight, and it's not always subdividing the 16th note sound, because one key component of groove is that it needs to breathe, right? At least for that sound. It needs to have the space of being in the pocket, but sometimes kind of like sliding a little bit behind the beat, going back into the pocket, behind the beat, etc. So having that room to play with the tempo a little bit is really important for the sound and a part of all of that music. So having this super locked in at all times is going to actually achieve the opposite of having that breathing space for the parts. A lot of that also comes from, the trends in modern funk and stuff, where like there's a lot of really funky, cool parts. But you have to understand that's being phrased into your rhythm. And if the intention is just to make it tight, well, realize that funk and all of that music, it can't be that tight, or else it doesn't groove. So the idea of groove is actually more connected to the accurate representation of rhythms by the player, playing solid rhythms, and repetition. If you repeat things enough and you're playing solid rhythms, it's going to start grooving. It has nothing to do with a loud 16th note scratch at all times. So what to work on? What is the skill that we need? We need to learn how to keep the subdivision in our strumming hand, right hand, or if you're left-handed, left hand. So if the fastest rhythm in your part is an eighth note, you would keep eighth notes as your constant subdivision. If the fastest subdivision is 16ths, you would keep 16ths, etc. So you can see that my hand is moving always. And I'm adding here and there this little 16th ghost notes, but not all of them, so that it sounds like that. It breathes because I'm leaving that space there. So again, it's the idea of keeping the motion going. So here's an exercise you should work on. A full measure of 16 notes, right? Let's hit each of the 16 notes within the beat. So for example, I'm going to hit the first one on each beat first. 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the... And the goal is to not subdivide the 16ths in sound, but only in motion. Then the second one. And the third one. And the last one. It's going to feel weird because it's in the air, but that's the skill. So that you can add them here and there wherever you want. It's going to feel more comfortable if you were doing that, right? So here's an example of applying that back to something like where that would be outlining all of that. But now, there's this space that makes the thing breathe more and communicate better with the instruments, with the possibility of adding different variations, different ghost notes, etc. It's not that constant, predictable sound that is kind of like intruding. Anyway, here's another example. Rock With You, the Michael Jackson song, for example. The main idea is not... like keeping all of those sounds. The main idea, if you hear David Williams play this part, is just leave that air. There's space. In the pocket and behind the beat a little bit. But you're always there, That's all you need. It's not. Too much. Let it breathe. Same thing with like that. It sounds good. It's cool. But if you hear the part, it's more like there's space. There's not always like that. So anyway, that is the main concept I wanted to show you today. Don't always default to the 16th note scratch. Learn how to make those rhythms breathe by learning how to keep subdivisions, but you don't have to play all of them. So that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys on the next one.